Hello, my name is Rupa Maitra and I live in Wellington, New Zealand. This afternoon I'd like to read to you from one of my stories called The Two Aunties. The Two Aunties was recently published as part of a collection of stories that I've written and was published by Steele Roberts. The collection is called Prophecies, after one of the stories. The Two Aunties is actually the first story in the book. I'm just going to read you about the first one-third of it. When the two aunties from Tauranga come to stay, they don't just visit, they uproot and transplant themselves. They go everywhere by car because little auntie is afraid of flying. She had to be sedated when she flew to New Zealand from India. The only thing she remembers about the trip is the smell of the dinner that was served soon after they took off. Little auntie does most of the driving. Big auntie would prefer not to drive at all, and when she does, it is at the unvarying speed of 60 km. They load up the car, complete with portable fan, transistor radio and record player, and usually stay for a month, often over the summer. They divert all their mail to our Auckland address. Big auntie brings her framed picture of the goddess of learning, which she keeps in a drawer by her bed. She lights incense every night and scatters fresh flower petals. Sometimes we catch her praying. She sits cross-legged by the open drawer and speaks rapidly in low tones, rocking back and forth. When it's over, she yells out for help. She can't get back up on her own. Somehow we get her onto her feet without her sari unravelling. How do you manage at home? Little auntie isn't strong enough to lift you. She's puny, no muscles. I have to sit on a chair at home. God understands. Big auntie probably weighs twice as much as little auntie, but that's not why we call them big and little. It's because Big Auntie is 5 years older. Barry has no ear for foreign languages, so we use the English translations of Boroma and Chotoma. The aunties don't mind. Big Auntie is proud of being big. I put the aunties in a room at the other end of the house, where little auntie is free to listen to the radio non-stop. It is her particular obsession. Big auntie only tunes in for the news. We can just hear the low-pitched wailing of the Bengali songs playing on their crackling portable record player. Although Susie complains about the auntie's taste in music, I have heard her singing some of the catchier tunes in the bathroom or when she's sitting on her swing. I know what Barry means when he says the songs all sound gloomy. My grandmother once told me that if I laughed too much, I'd end up crying. The news on the Aunties Radio sounds monotonous. I don't mind Rose Jennings' arts program. I could listen to Rose for hours. I hear a lot of her when the aunties are here. It's the station they listen to. Little auntie tuned my radio to that station when she borrowed my car last week, so now it's on whenever I'm driving. In the mornings, while little auntie listens to the radio, big auntie seeks company. She loiters around the hydrangeas until next door Janice comes out in her fluffy blue dressing gown. They stand on either side of the hedge. Big auntie talks about the roses, which haven't done well this year, about Kendra from the villa down the road, who used to be a model and has been diagnosed with breast cancer, about the vandals who keep smashing the glass in the bus stop. Occasionally, Janice sneaks in a few words. Who would have guessed? It's just too bad, in her rasping voice. Big auntie is on the sofa now, on the other side of the room, bent over the paper. Susie's head is in my lap. Her eyes are closed, and I'm gently untangling her hair. Little auntie's radio plays in the distance. Listen! There's an article here about snoring and vitamin C. Big auntie looks up expectantly. To show any interest or to encourage more explanation from Big Auntie would be like drilling a hole in a pipe. I would have to listen to a continuous gush of talking until it all ran out. I work on an imaginary knot in Susie's hair. After a few moments, Big Auntie heaves herself off the couch and goes outside. I expect she's going to check the mail. Are they gay, Mum? Are who gay? I'm surprised Susie knows what the word means. The aunties. They, sleep in the same bed. Oh, they've done that since they were very young. They're not sisters, though, are they? No, just good friends who have got used to sleeping next to each other. They have slept in the same bed ever since I can remember. When I was 10, my parents took us to India for the second time. A tall, bespectacled man wearing a long white gown met us at the airport in Kolkata. We called him Jetta, even though he wasn't really our uncle, but a tutor from my father's old college. The dust hurt my eyes and made everything look bright when we stepped outside. People speaking in a strange sort of Bengali surrounded us, their hands held out. I remember the whites of their eyes. Jetta gave them coins and shooed them away. My mother's knuckles were yellow as the taxi nudged past cars and rickshaws amid the persistent tooting of horns. A pair of cows looked at us as the taxi stopped next to a dusty courtyard. Jetta's son Prithvi carried my sister on his shoulders up 4 flights of stairs to their apartment. When the lights went off during load shedding that evening, I lay in my mother's lap, watching the shadows and listening to the conversations. Jetta said Prithvi loved Kolkata and would probably never venture out of West Bengal. Oh, Dada, what have you said? See the tick-ticky? It'll come true. My mother pointed to a lizard on the wall behind Jetta. What nonsense, said my father. The street noises continued all night, people discussing politics in shouted Bengali, the bells on the rickshaws. The next day we took a train to my grandmother's house. Some nights my sister and I would sleep in my grandmother's bed with our cousins. Other nights we slept with my 40-year-old aunties who were too old to get married. Our nights were always disrupted. My cousins, 6-year-old twin boys, wriggled around in the bed. One of them snuggled against my back to help him fall asleep. In the other bed, Big Auntie snored. Tick-ticky walked about at night on the ceiling in swirling patterns. I tried saying, Dadu will come home tomorrow with a pet monkey out loud, but it didn't come true. Big Auntie must have snored too loudly. I wish that one of the tick-ticky would fall on her and wake her up. If you would like to